Hello traders and welcome to Douglas on Trading. Today we're going to be talking about the NinjaTrader Market Depth Indicator. It's a pretty cool indicator, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to go over that and then we're going to compare it to the Rolls-Royce of market depth indicators, which is Bookmap. Okay, so over here on the left, we have Bookmap. We're going to ignore that for now, because over here on the right, what we've got populating these gray areas that you see coming in and these little numbers right here, that is NinjaTrader's order flow depth map. Okay, and this is free with the lifetime license. It's part of their order flow suite. All right, they've got like a VWAP, they've got a volume profile, they've got the market depth map. And I've gone over some of that stuff in previous videos, so please check those out. But this is going to be more in depth on just the market depth. And if you're not familiar with this, what we're really looking at is just a visualized version of the dome. So if you're familiar with the dome is showing you the limit orders waiting in the book. And what that means is if somebody wants to, if they know they want to buy, so we're looking at gold, we're looking at the GC contract right here. So let's say somebody knows that they want to buy when price hits down here to 1553.30. All right, so $1,553.30. They know they want to buy when it reaches that level, and so they put in a big order right there and they just wait. And when the price comes down, in theory, once price hits their, if price does come down, hits their limit orders, then they will buy all that up, and then the market will do what it will. That would be great if that's all that happened, but that's not all that happens, all right? So people do a lot of manipulation with the order book. So you can't just go on gospel truth of what you see in the order book. For one thing, people could just place market orders and push the market in a certain direction, right? There's not just limit orders in the book, there's market orders. And the other thing people do is they will often use limit orders to fool people. So this buyer, there's a bigger buyer down here at that 1553.30 level. And so we don't know if he's real or not. He could be playing like he's real here, trying to draw a price down to it for a multiple of reasons. Maybe he'll get scared and pull those orders before price comes down. He decides, oh, I don't really want to play at that level. Maybe he was trying to draw price down to begin with. Maybe he is actually a seller. He's placed some market sells up here. He wants people to come down to grab this supposed liquidity here so they can trade, make more trades. And then he's going to pull out of the way because he never intended to buy to begin with. There's all sorts of various games that can happen. And so you can't just go on the market book. And so this is going to be the main limitation of the NinjaTrader order flow depth map. All right. So it's super cool. It's going to give you some information you've never seen before, but it is limited because all it does is give you the limit book. Okay. Now, one thing it does do is this timestamp kind of situation. So by timestamp, I mean that I turned it on, right here around 8:20 on this replay version. And so that's when it'll start populating. And so it'll show you the length of time that these orders have been sitting in here. Okay, so let's go look up, let's look at this one down here that we've been looking at, the 1553.30, which I always have trouble saying. So this guy's he's been in the book at least since 8:20. Who knows? He might have been in here since God knows when. All right. But we just turned it on here. So that's all we know. So as long as he stays in the book and nothing executes here, this will just stay this color of gray. So the more highlighted it is, the bigger in relative volume it is. And it's a little hard to read there with this gray on gray. But there's 88 orders right here, okay? And if you look at everywhere else, it's like 44, 31, 23. Like 23 is darker than the 44 because it's lighter volume, and then the 88 is the darkest. The most highlighted because it is the heaviest amount of volume. All right, so that's really the basic of it. Is it's going to show you the highlighted areas where there's most volume weighting. Okay, so where this can help you is if you have a level that you're looking at and you want either confirmation or protection. Okay, and so let's say you've got this trend line going on. You say, hey, it looks like there's some resistance here, right here at the 1553.40 level. And this is kind of where you want to get in to go long, or you're looking for a breakout to go short. In this scenario, we're just going to say you're looking to get long. As protection, you would say, you know, maybe I'll place my buy here, or if I want to get in a little bit, be more aggressive, place my buy here or something like that. I'm going to make my risk minimal, okay, by hiding behind this liquidity. So I'm going to come down to at least 1553.20, maybe a little bit more. You've got a little bit more highlighted, so 57 orders here. So maybe you'd come down to 1552.90. So you don't have to risk that many ticks because you know where the resistance is, or the potential resistance, nothing's guaranteed, in the book. Okay, so it can really help you with stop losses and not having to put on such big stops, because you know what's going to happen is either this works and this acts as resistance and they can't get through this amount of limit orders and then price goes up, or you're wrong and price will break through that and then go down. Again, in theory, sometimes it breaks through, goes down just a little bit, might stop you out and then go up. So you'll have to play your own risk game there, but that is what you would use these kind of levels for. And so right now we're hitting into that 1553 on this replay. I didn't pre-check this, so I have no idea what was going to happen here. It looks like they either ate through those orders, or it kind of looks like what happened is they pulled out and then pushed in now at 93. So they actually added in more orders after price came down to them. So they're showing strength. Okay, that's the key, is they're showing strength. Doesn't mean they are strong. And then price came back down, hits them again. Now they're gone again. And so either they got eaten up, orders executed, or they got out of the way. Now this is the big limitation with NinjaTrader, is you can't really see exactly what happened there. Now you can combine this with their other order flow indicator, which is the, I made a whole video on it. It's their trade, let's get the right word for you, trade detector. It's the order flow trade detector. That'll kind of show you some volume dots. It's not the best. It's kind of limited and hard to read. And sometimes there's so many dots on the board that you can't see anything at all. But that'll help you know with certain settings, you might limit, like I only want to see big orders or small orders. You can get some kind of idea if something executed here or not. So now right now, if we go back to our scenario where we hid behind the 59, the 1553 level, because there was those two highlighted versions. So if you wanted to give yourself room and you hid down here, you'd still be safe, at least up to this point, hoping that these guys come in and push it up. And so now you see you've got three levels of potential buyers in here now. You've got the 68, so they started piling in a little bit more. 59, so these guys came in a little bit more, and then above you got 59 again, so these guys came in a little bit. And then at your original volume, they're kind of weak at 47, but maybe they don't need to be. Maybe they don't need to be there. And so we'll keep seeing how that plays out. But we're going to switch over to Bookmap to show you the difference in what's going on. So we'll make this a little bit bigger. So in Bookmap, the first thing you're going to notice over here to the left is how much easier it is to look at. It's much prettier. It's a little more complicated, which is a good thing in this situation. But it's a lot prettier. It's a lot easier to look at, easier on the eyes, but you don't got the chart printing out right on top of it, which is a small disadvantage, right? But you've got these dots here. These are volume dots. All right, and I've got these dots set on a net cumulative setting. And so there's actually buy and sell orders happening in here, but I've got it on the cumulative, so it'll show you who won out. So the red dots are when sellers went out, and it'll show you the relative size. So right here, this bubble's bigger, and if you hover over it, it'll say, oh, there's 117 that executed there, which is why that bubble's bigger than this little red guy here, which only 16 executed. So this is a lot more information. And like I said, when we were looking at NinjaTrader earlier, and then the price was coming down to those highlighted levels and they were kind of disappearing and coming back, you didn't really know what was happening. It was hard to tell if anything even executed there. You know, it gave you a clue as to this is where action could happen, and that's exactly what happened, right? So in our scenario, we just bought, and so we would have lost. But the one thing you do know is that's why this action happened, okay? So if you had been a seller looking for the breakout, you wouldn't have been having to wait down here for the breakout. And traditionally, you know, you might think that that's the low, right? And it is the low, but it wasn't where interest was. Interest was back up here on this highlighted level. So if your scenario in this situation was that you were looking for the break, you wanted to go short, what you would have done is wanted to see that break through there, take your short maybe at 1553.31, maybe down here at this last little bit of higher level of liquidity. And sure enough, I mean, there's a reason why price moved there, right? So if all you were looking at was the chart like this, without any of those liquidity numbers, and by liquidity, I'm talking about the orders in the book, you don't know why price moved all of a sudden. It just did. You know, you think, well, that's kind of near a level, so that's probably where people are interested. So you can guess, and you'll be kind of right. But with this, you know exactly why it moved. All right? There was a lot more action going on there, and then it executed, and then it went. Okay, so now let's go over here at the at Bookmap. And hopefully you can visualize this the same way. So again, remember these dots are the executed orders, the orders that actually executed. And so this is the big advantage. So we were looking at 1553.30, right? 1553.30 is this highlighted line here. And you can see it gets shaded back and forth. So that's telling you when guys are kind of popping in and out. And price is coming down. You can see sellers were selling into it. A little bit of buyers, and then they're selling into it. You can clearly see all of this red. You know, you can clearly see the sellers are winning, and then they pop right into it without hesitation. You know for a fact that it executed on that liquidity, okay? They totally ate those orders. Those orders did not pull. They weren't scared. They wanted to play, and they got beat, okay? And that's what that big order signals. And then you had the other level of liquidity below it that we talked about earlier, and that was just enough to push it just back up. And there's a little bit of buying here, but that's mostly all selling. I mean, look at that, guys. It's pretty easy to see that in that box, there's more selling than buyers. So they push down again after that liquidity. They go after it again. They make another run for those lows. And then clearly they win, and then you've got the sellers winning all the way down. And then if you notice this, it's kind of a repeat. We'll zoom in. So it comes down, highlighted areas. It was enough people in the book waiting to play that it pushed it back up a little bit. You got a little bit of buyers, nothing too big. And then the sellers take over again and start winning. Okay, so it's just so much more information in Bookmap, and we haven't even scratched the surface yet of what Bookmap can do. This column here is the orders in the book. Of course, that translates into the highlighted areas too. So like 64 is the biggest one. That's why this is currently the darkest one in the book right now, or the most highlighted. Over here is the volume that's executed. You can have that reset at any point in time. So reset it now and it'll start recounting again. There's all sorts of different options. that you can do. So you can do like a trades counter, a quotes counter, the difference between the quotes being added and subtracted. You could do a time and sales column if you want to see each individual sale and the time it executed. You can change that to only seeing like the big orders. Like if I put a minimum size of 100, then I'd only see orders that were 100 or more. Let's get rid of that column. We don't need that. If we come over here, this is the bubbles option, the market executed orders option. Right now we're on the volume delta, so the buys minus sells, so we can clearly see on the map who won in just a red or a blue. But if we take that off to total volume, it combines them, so you can see that there were buyers and sellers executing at the same time. And then it gives you this little pie chart of who's in the lead, but I think that is unnecessarily hard to read when you can just decide, all right, who was the dominant one, okay? So that's the way I choose to look at it. You can put on large trades alerts, which will notify you if unusually large trades happen. You can put the VWAP on. You can put volume bars on so you can see what level of volume happened. I usually do have those volume bars on. And many, many more options. That's just kind of the main ones I use. But at the very least, I mean, Bookmap's not cheap, man. You know, it's going to be, there's almost no reason to not buy the lifetime license, because it's like you can rent it for a year for $1,000, or you can buy it for a lifetime for $1,000. It's kind of a no-brainer. You just buy it if you're going to buy it. And then if you want extra options, it's like another $1,000 on top. If you want to trade directly from Bookmap, it's going to cost you that the 2,000 instead of 1,000, and you get a couple more features with that, features that I don't really care about, which is why I don't have that extra bid. Plus, I don't want to pay a whole another $1,000 for it. Yeah, but that is the gist. I mean, I would tell you even more about the NinjaTrader one, but it's pretty basic. I mean, that's what you get, okay? And like I said, it's better than nothing. All right, I would recommend at least putting that on your chart so you have an idea. Let's see what's going on down here, why that has blacked everything out. 200. Okay, so there's 200 orders down here at the 1550 level, and that is strong enough and highlighted enough that it's made everything else look blank because it's all relative, okay? Let's see if that's in the book over here. Okay, normally in Bookmap, we have what's called full depth of market. If you're using rhythmic data, CQG or another data is not going to give you the full depth. It only gives you like 10 levels or something, which is not enough. Now on replay, unfortunately, I can't show you this. On replay, it only gives you this limited look. But if this was real time, I could go all the way down into Nowheresville, and it'll show me all the orders as far down as I want to go. It'll show you the whole damn book. All right. I wish I could show you that. Maybe I will in another video, but this is just a market replay, so we're not going to get too concerned with that. There we go. There's the 249 down there. And let's just take a look at what happens there, shall we? And then we'll be done. We've gone a little long already. So let's just speed this up. Let's see what this looks like. I mean, the market's clearly been down. Sellers have been in the lead, pushing those lows. And let's see if they go for that 1550 level or not. Currently got it on 8 times speed. You can see you've had the buyers are in slight control at least. Where's the, there we go. I didn't have that fully out there on NinjaTrader. So another thing that these market depth maps can show you is they can really help with the end of a trend or trend reversals. And because if you took this short, let's say, and you were riding that down and you saw this big 249 level, well, that's a great place to start taking profits, is once it approaches this area, especially if you saw what was happening when the buyers started coming in more and more. It'd be a good time to take those profits, at least take some risk off. You could still let a runner go to see if it makes another attempt down at that big level of liquidity. In this situation, it doesn't look like it is, although now we've got a competition up here. So we've got big buyers at 249. We've got big sellers at 117. You have to see who wins. Sellers are taking over, at least momentarily. And on the chart, if you believe in candlesticks, that's a nice looking candlestick, although it's into the EMA. So we're going to cheat and play out just a little bit more and see if it breaks through this 1553 for a continuation up. So it ate those guys up. And they're strong enough to keep pushing. So there you go. And that's actually, if we go some classic price action, let's put all right, classic. I paused the video instead of the trading. Here we go. So in classic price action, I just drew this trend line here. You're following this trend line up, and 855. Okay, so that level was at 1553.80. Okay, so there's a couple ways that you could have played this. If you had this trend line drawn and you saw the 1553.80 level, which you can see the little bit of gray right here, or in Bookmap you can see it a lot easier. There's two things that you could be thinking. One, I'm going to be cautious because this could push it down. Or two, I think that buyers are strong and they're going to try to take these guys out. All right, so if you're playing the trend line, then if you went long here off your potential trend line, then you would want your target, maybe your first target, to be in here if you're playing it safe, or maybe beyond if you think that this is going to work as the catalyst, which it did. It boosted it up and went through, right? And then if you're back over in this area off the trend line, like they already took those guys out. So when it comes back and starts bouncing off that trend line again, there's no more resistance in your way. So you could take that long. Now this all plays into your strategy and what you're seeing and what you think is going to happen. But it gives you reasons for your strategy. That's the whole point I'm driving at. It gives you reasons for your strategy. Okay. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you didn't understand what I was talking about, if I covered something too quickly, or you need a little more explanation, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, happy trading, and please, please, please subscribe. Subscribe. Bye.